Good afternoon. I'm now going to call the Wednesday, June 12th, 2024 meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners to order. Leave it there, I gotta put that in the folder. On Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act making appropriations for the fiscal year 2023, which includes a 2-year extension of the option for public bodies to hold remote meetings by suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. This action was effective immediately, extending the current option for remote meetings through March 31, 2025. Thank you. We're live and on remote. You stand and join me in saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to say at the outset that we have a standard agenda today, but in addition, we have a public hearing in the town of Stoughton that I will be calling at 1:30 p.m. So we're going to jump around a bit on our agenda. Yes, John.
Mr. Chairman, through you, if you would be inclined, council just informed me that he was running late
Okay.
and executive session being scheduled for 1. I think he would be open to moving his appointment to 1:30 and possibly opening up, 1:30 United Way opportunity at 1 if the parties are here.
Okay. Without objection, that sounds like a good idea.
Sounds fine to me.
Because we can move the executive session. I have to call. Also at 1:30, I have to call the matter in the town of Stoughton and open it up, even if we don't, but I'd like to get right to it. Okay, thank you. This meeting is called to order. I'm going to take the roll call. Commissioner Stady,
I am here, sir.
Commissioner Collins,
Present.
Commissioner Shea is present. Thank you. Number 4, minutes for the open session meeting of June 5th. Not ready, so we're going to go by that. That's no problem.
Need a motion to table,
I gotta jump.
John?
Yes, he'll be ready next week.
Yeah, I'll move table action on that till next week.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Then we're going to jump to number 5, which is the presentation from the folks at United Way. And then at 1:30, I'm going to call a public hearing, and then we'll go into executive session. Okay. Sam, ask those folks to come on in. I think we need one. Well, we'll get them in the right place here.
Joe, is anybody else joining you guys?
Oh, here, hey, Joe.
one other.
All right, we're going to go right at 1:30.
Is the chair coming?
That's what the call is.
No,
We're waiting on
Chairman,
Patrick anyway.
Good to see you all.
Okay, good afternoon, folks. We changed things. We're gonna try to get you, we're gonna do you right now because you don't want to sit through a public hearing on
Do you want us to sit
a
back
matter
here
of
or
a
up there?
discontinuance of a street.
Where it's appropriate.
We're gonna put, who's doing most of the talking?
We're splitting.
So,
Mark is starting.
yeah, so I just want to
Why don't
thank
you
you.
introduce your group and
Yeah,
then.
maybe John could sit, let's see.
Sure,
I think how we can do it.
That's your.
okay.
Mark Flaherty, labor liaison for the United Way for Norfolk County in Boston. Been with the United Way for 4.5 years and did a lot of work for the United Way in Norfolk County. And basically, a couple of my colleagues, Rebecca and Carly, that will be giving the presentation. And they have a pulse of what's going on and what they're working on in Norfolk County. You know, some of the stuff that we've done in the past in Norfolk County and continue to do, we get community involvement and we've got elected officials, selectmen, school committee men, and everything like that, and senators and reps to participate. And I also want to thank John Cronin for putting us on the agenda and William Buckley helping us get this PowerPoint going. And I want to thank you guys because I grew up in the city of Quincy in Norfolk County. You know, we've got a great bunch of elected officials in Norfolk County. We're very lucky to have you guys. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to these guys. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mark.
Mark.
ladies, why don't you sit here and we'll put Mark over your shoulder right there and the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm gonna kick you out while you're going through.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for having us.
You sure?
Brief conversations, you, have led me to understand that you all sort of know a little bit about United Way. And rather than me just sharing, I'd love to sort of start from where you are. What do you guys know about what United Way does?
Want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I know first and foremost that they indirectly or directly help out with food assistance
Absolutely.
and sometimes even housing assistance
Yeah, yes.
for those in need. I know that right off the bat. I know they do other things too as well in terms of dealing with emotional and mental crisis. And they do a good job.
Mhm.
How many charities do you work with, in other words? I remember filling out my membership card
Oh, and it
and
was
checking off, I
Yeah.
wanted the money to go to the Boy Scouts,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So we
This is
still,
going back a little, as I told you.
we
See,
still do the pass-through. That's true. You can still do the pass-through, but we also make direct grants to 124 nonprofit partners of ours in the region, and also provide them with capacity building supports and connectivity so that they can better do their work. So not only are we providing them with the financial capital, but the social and intellectual capital to better be able to do their jobs with fewer redundancies. And I think that's a big part of what we do. Did you have any questions?
I'm good. Keep going.
So United Way, our core work is to provide the opportunity for communities to thrive. Again, through capital, people, skills, and connectivity. We know that social capital and organizational capacity are essential to enabling direct service to be as successful as possible. We are the connective tissue, and we can only do this work through meaningful support. We are actually operating under a slightly different strategy than the strategy that you might be most familiar with from days back when perhaps you were involved in the United Way campaign. In 2021, we saw an opportunity to redefine our strategy and redefine the way we work to solve systemic inequities in our region. We transformed our theory of impact from a broad focus on creating positive change to an equity-driven vision to advance economically just region across race and ethnicity. Our vision challenged us to embrace population and community level metrics to show change and impact. I don't know who's slides.
You can just say it.
Oh, it's okay.
Or just
Can we advance to slide 3?
move the slide, please. I was doing it. There we go.
Thank you.
is Sam
Like
doing that?
magic. Yeah, that's all.
Magic.
There you go. All right.
I think the most important thing to understand about United Way is that we are the only organization positioned in Eastern Massachusetts positioned to dismantle systemic equities by uniting public, private, and nonprofit sectors. United Way is continually lauded for our speed to impact. None of our funds go to an endowment. They are immediately redeployed to our grant-making work, field building, and policy work. Field building sort of means thought leadership work. That's sort of how we think about it. And then if you could advance to slide 4.
You can go one more.
These are our four impact areas that are all propped up on a 5th core community-centered crisis response. That's about providing the food and feeding people that you were talking about earlier. We work in economic inclusion and wealth building, early education and out-of-school time programs, education and career pathways for young adults, and safe and stable housing. And I will, if we can advance one more slide, I'll talk a little bit about each of these impact areas. We know in Massachusetts, Communities of color are 2 times more likely than white communities to report having any debt in collections. We know for early education and out of school time, it is one of the biggest economic indicators is whether both parents can be in the workforce, and enabling both partners or parents to be in the workforce in a two-parent household, or even in a single family household, is one of the biggest economic indicators. This also for growth, for GDP growth. We also know that early education and out of school time are key to academic and social success for any child. They need those social supports. They need access to academics bolstering as well. Pathways for young adults. It is critical that high schoolers and young adults who see various pathways to various careers and have access to those opportunities, whether they're in a vocational program now, whether they need access to an apprenticeship, connectivity to a labor union, or the ability to fund opportunities in higher education. And lastly, safe and stable housing. I'm sure everybody saw the not nearly groundbreaking, but earth-shattering article in the Boston Globe that said to live in Boston itself, it costs $125,000 to do so comfortably. That's still true for surrounding areas, and it is almost impossible for young people starting out and families who make an average income to live comfortably in our region. Something that I thought was really sort of groundbreaking is the average family in our region spends 50% of their income on housing. The additional 40% goes to childcare. That doesn't leave much for groceries, gas, car bills, electricity, which is where we come in. And this is also where our policy work can come in, because policy can move and shift a lot of these things forward when you think about systems that we want to change, right? If you could advance the slide, please. So the one thing I really want to call out on this slide is we are used to mobilizing public resources. We have an ability to provide fiscal oversight for public funds that many nonprofits don't have. We are familiar with managing government money and reporting back accurately and deploying those funds so that the organizations that are working on a community level can focus on the work that is needed to be of most use and most good within their communities. I will now pass the torch to Carly. Carly runs all of our impact work. She has been with the organization for 17 years and running impact. And the floor is yours, Carly.
So you can advance to the next slide. So I'm Carly Osceola. I'm the Chief Community Impact Officer at United Way. So I oversee all of our grant making, our programs in the community. And one of the things that I wanted to ground this work in is that when we started on this new vision, we held a whole series of community listening sessions out in all of our communities, including Norfolk County. We actually paid people within your communities to go out and have conversations and tell us what the issues were that were most important. So when you hear about housing, childcare, pathways for young youth and young adults, economic inclusion, that actually is what came from the people in the community to tell us what they wanted to do. In Norfolk County, we have particularly focused in on the city of Quincy. That's one of our 12 focus communities, but also we do a lot of work in the towns of Randolph and in Weymouth. Also, we do a little work in Stoughton as well. But I'll talk pretty much about those 3 communities and really the needs that we're seeing and what we could use your support for. The 2 areas I'll talk about are our community level change work that we do in partnership with organizations, and then also our crisis response assistance. So you can go to the next slide and I want to use South Shore Stars as an example. So when we were initially talking with Stars about our new investments, so we're investing in all of these organizations for 7 years. We're giving them unrestricted dollars, which is really amazing. In the application, what they called out to us is that they want it most for United Way to help them connect to other multi-service organizations within their community and outside their community so that they could align their services for long-term impact. They wanted to collaborate. And what United Way does is we come in and we can help create that type of collaboration. We can set the table, if you will. A really good example of that we're doing with Stars is we have been able to work with the State Department of Early Education and Care on a program called the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative. Basically, it's a big, long word to say, how do we make preschool free? How do we find preschool slots within schools and in communities? And Quincy, for the first time, got funding from that. It's just money to help them plan and bring people to the table. The state has asked, the state and Stars both asked United Way to help do that. So what we're doing now is meeting with the assistant superintendent, Erin Perkins. We're meeting with Stars. We're bringing also QCAP into that so that we can really think about how we're best able to get preschool out to every child in the city of Quincy. So it's a huge task that we're really excited to focus in on. And as you can see up here, one of the other things that Stars, like just as an example, they said, if they were able to get, $50,000 for them would help them reach 1,000 students and families annually. So it's a pretty big bang for your buck, if you will, when we think about how we're able to help do that collaboration work. And this is, I think, a really good example of our early ed and out of school time work, where we're really trying to make sure that childcare is available, that it's high quality when and where families need it. We know that that's the biggest challenge that we're seeing. If you go to the next slide, I can talk a little bit. I'll use Quincy Community Action Programs, QCAP, but I was just hearing earlier about the deep role that you've had in QCAP over years and that your wife has had. QCAP is one of our anchor organizations for our economic inclusion and wealth building work and our housing work. Through our partnership with them, they've actually participated in a number of our trainings for financial coaching. And their 2 financial coaches were able to get accredited as financial counselors through a partnership that we were able to bring to them. And one of the things when we asked QCAP what they were interested in doing, they came to us and said, this is maybe a little in the weeds, but for financial coaching, it takes a really long time. So folks might set a goal, but it takes them a long time to get to it. And so what QCAP asked us is, would we be willing to sit with them and create a program that would be a shorter time frame? So folks that can't commit to that, how do we go to their English as a second language, their adult ed programs, and bring people in so that we can give them a lighter touch financial coaching program? So that's through their Reach Center. And then actually get them on the way to financial well-being sooner. So we're super excited to be partnering with them on that. Those are the kind of things that immediately help people improve their credit scores. So when people are engaged in a financial coach through our programming, we see an immediate uptick in their credit score, which will oftentimes bring them from subprime to prime. And in this market, that's how important that is, not just for home ownership, but also for if you want to open up a small business, anything like that. So that's a big piece that we've been focusing on with QCAP. You can go to the next slide. This is still about QCAP, but wanted to shift a little bit and talk about our role in direct assistance. So we have an initiative, and one of the things that we're asking for funds for is for what we call our family fund. This is direct assistance for rent, heat, and food for families that are in need. So we vet organizations to be part of the family fund. QCAP is one of them. In Norfolk County, and they provide case management. They find the people, they provide case management, and they determine what needs those individuals and families have, and then they are able to use the dollars to pay for that rental, utility, or food assistance. You can see on here that if we were able to get an additional $85,000 for our family fund, it would give 20 to 25 families permanent housing or 80 families utility assistance. So again, it's immediate dollars that go out the door. And we're able to really track all of these things right here. The other thing I wanted to mention on this slide, just for folks to know, we have been partnering with the town of Randolph since the pandemic. When the pandemic started, and as you recall, a lot of cities and towns were starting up their own funds to raise direct assistance and food for the families in their communities. United Way just stepped in and said, we're available to help you do that. We know how to manage the government funds. We know how to bring people together. The town of Randolph asked for us to step in and work with them to set up their fund, which is now known as the Resilient Randolph Fund. Hopefully folks are aware of. It's amazing. We work still, my colleague Sarah Link is on a call every other week with the town manager, Brian Howard, with Liz LaRossi, who heads up, heads up the library and recreation for the city, and then also with STARS and NeighborWorks. And they are talking constantly about how to best utilize those resources. They were able to bring in through ARPA, through American Rescue Plan dollars, $500,000 a year that go to families in need. And then through a state line item, they're getting an additional $140,000. We are the ones that advocated for that additional dollars. That sounds like a lot of money, $640,000 a year. You're kind of thinking, okay, Randolph's set. They have told us repeatedly that the need is outstripping what they have to give out. So folks, we're out of the pandemic, I guess, so says the federal government, but we all know that it's a long tail for families to actually feel like they are out of the pandemic. Funds that can be used to provide those supports to families, I think it's a perfect use for American Rescue Plan dollars. It's how we've been using those dollars in Randolph, would be really deeply appreciated and used. So we can do that and bolster Quincy as well. It would be a wonderful help for us. You can go to the next slide. This is the last thing. Some of you may be familiar with what used to be called our Thanksgiving Project. It's now rebranded as the Gratitude Project so that we can do this all year round. This is really a big piece of our food assistance work that we do in communities. So every year we partner with communities. You can see we partner with Quincy, Weymouth, and Randolph in Norfolk County to provide food for predominantly Thanksgiving meals and provide families with gift cards so that they can then go and supplement for their own family. This is a wonderful occasion. We welcome you all to join us for it. So usually on the Saturday prior to Thanksgiving, we hand out the bags, and it's a wonderful volunteer moment in the community. We would love to have ARPA dollars support that work over the next year so that we can ensure that Quincy, Weymouth, and Randolph are able to meet the food assistance needs of their families. We've also been able to extend the Gratitude Project to not just be about that one day of the year, but to also be about year-round support for families. So whether that's diapers, wipes, or other food that they might need. So the last slide's just our thank you. We really, we started this with Mark and Rebecca saying thanks, but I just want to say how wonderful it is that you've been really thoughtful about how you are deploying ARPA dollars. I know a lot of cities and towns have either not had a transparent process or have not been able to give out their dollars. And I really appreciate that you're recruiting folks from the community to come and say how to best use those dollars and make sure they can get out to families. So I think supporting family and community infrastructure is so critical, and I'm glad we're taking advantage of this opportunity. So thank you all so much, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, a couple of questions because we're going to be through at 1:30.
Yeah, real quick.
Right.
Thank you for your presentation. Excellent job. You're doing some great work. I think just a minor thing, I don't want to give me on slide 9. I don't think you meant 80 Norfolk County communities, because only 28. Last time I checked.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's not. I got a lot more work to do.
So,
But I think maybe organizations, maybe. Amy, or slide 9. So we
Oh.
serve Quincy, Weymouth, Milton, Braintree, Randolph,
It might
and more
mean,
than 80 Norfolk County communities, maybe.
we might,
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know
78.
what that means.
I don't know if there's something.
I think that probably means neighborhoods.
Neighborhood. yeah.
Oh, it does mean.
I would guess that means neighborhoods, and when you think about communities,
Oh, I
like,
see. Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
East Dedham, West Dedham.
Yeah.
Like,
Needless to say,
North,
if
south.
we work with you, we
Yeah.
don't want you to give us money to anyone else.
No, absolutely. And the other, we are
Yeah.
able to
I mean,
very much like
You'll have
restrict
to
the dollars.
delineate. I'm
and be
sure
able
the
to tell you.
application will,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
will reflect that.
So you mentioned you're familiar, one of your presentations,
Yeah.
somebody said you work with state agencies.
Correct,
So
yes.
Can you give me a couple of quick examples?
Yeah,
What do you
I
mean by that?
can. So
What
we,
state agency you work with?
Department of Early Education and Care, the Department of Housing and Livable Communities, and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education are the three major ones that we work with. Right now, for instance, for the Housing and Livable Communities, we are the administrator of the Safety Net Shelter Grant that is welcoming migrants into shelter. We have been working with community-based organizations to provide that emergency shelter in for Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed and Early Ed and Care. They have a joint initiative called the Summer Step Up Program, which was set up during COVID to help combat learning loss for children over the summer. We administer those grants to community. Again, it's like community tables, collaborations. We have funding in Quincy, Stoughton, and Randolph for Summer Step Up. So we work directly with the state. They then ask us, they grant us the dollars, and we then get it out to community, report back on how it's being used.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank
Those-
As an ad, these folks are from Stoughton mainly, but they're here for the public hearing at 1:30.
Hi, Stoughton friends. We provide after school, out of school time grants through the Department of Education to Stoughton. They're one of our big.
Okay,
Happy to answer any other questions after, and let us know what we can
Well,
do to help.
we're gonna ask for, take this under advisement,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna turn it over to John.
Wonderful.
John, get back to you.
Each contact. I can probably get it.
With-
I just say
Hopefully, can
that
work.
program, you get the turkeys out and
Yes.
shoot out.
That's
I
a gratitude
participated in that a couple of years ago in Weymouth. It's a great program.
We would love to
Great
have
program.
anyone
Great
come out to
program.
any of our towns where we're.
It's a long day, but it's a great
And I
program.
will say
It is a
there,
long day.
there is a program that's taking place in Boston next Friday. That's a shorter day. It's not as long. If you want to, it's a 1 day of gratitude, and it's for Boston. And I know that's not Norfolk County, but if you'd like to just come up to just experience it, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Anybody is.
Okay,
We can definitely get you on the list.
Well, you're doing a
Thank
good
you all
job.
so much.
we
We'll give
will
you school.
stay in touch with you, and Mark knows, we know where Mark is, and he
Yeah,
knows where
thank you.
we are,
Thank you
and
very
we'll
much.
go from there.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I'm gonna do the public hearing first, because first gonna go in. That's right. Okay, thank you. Joe and you gang, you'll understand this of opera, but towards the end now, there's a lot of these agencies are catching on that, this might be some more money, or there might be, not more, but redistribution or extra for different charities, so we're starting to hear from folks like them. That was a pretty good presentation. Our employees participate in, I call it the red feather. That's how far back I went.
Mr. Chair, we're speaking about some of those issues in Stoughton too, believe me.
I know. Okay, 1:30. Mark, please, I'm sorry. Patrick, come on in.
Thank you, Mr.
Patrick, sit right there, well, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna open this public hearing, say why we're here, and we're gonna go right into it. We're right on time at 1:30. We don't want to break any rules here. I'm now gonna call to order the public hearing at 1:30 PM on docket number 2037. It's a petition from the town of Stoughton, acting through its select board and others regarding the discontinuance of a portion of Page Street dated October 22nd, 1872. Patrick, did you write that layout? At that time, the commissioners will determine if you the expedient if necessary. This is the 1:30 hearing. The petition aforesaid ordered that the Norfolk County Commissioners meet at the County of Norfolk Administrative Offices, second floor, 614 High Street, Dedham, Mass, on Wednesday, June 12, 2024, at 1:30 p.m. To hear and act on said petition and view the route described in said petition if deemed necessary. On the petition of the inhabitants of the town of Stoughton and the town of Stoughton, acting through its select board of said county, representing the common convenience and necessity required that a portion of the Norfolk County layout on Page Street dated October 22nd, 1872, a public way in Stoughton, Mass, be discontinued. The area being shown as area of discontinuance containing 33,644 square feet on a plan entitled Plan Showing the Discontinuance of a portion of the October 22nd, 1872 Norfolk County layout on Page Street in Stoughton, Mass, between the old Page Street and the Page Street 1956 relocation. And on a plan entitled Plan Showing the reservation of access, egress, and utility easements and apportionment of the discontinued portion of the October 22nd, 1872 Norfolk County layout on Page Street. Okay, it's a petition. Wherefore your petition pray that a portion of said way may be discontinued with the limits as specified above. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Anyone that wants to speak on this, I'm going to ask our county surveyor, Patrick Higgins,
Mr.
for
Chair,
his comments and then go for there.
Mr. Chair, if I may, a greeting
Sure.
from the town.
Go ahead,
Thank
Joe.
you. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, Commissioner Stady. I have one in my brain.
Commissioner Collins.
We need your name. We know you,
Yes.
but we need your
Yes,
name and
Yes, Joseph McCrisky, member of this Board of Selectmen. I'm here on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, Stephen Davey, Chairman, Scott Carrar, Vice Chairman, Deborah Roberts, and myself. The Common Conveyance, 1872. Thank God the forefathers had that vision. The time has come for that vision to be put to work. I first want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of Stoughton through their Board of Selectmen for being a partner in what we're doing in the town of Stoughton. Whether it's the fire station, ARPA, now these layouts of this roadway, another piece of property that's now bringing taxable property taxes into the town instead of it just being dormant. You folks at Norfolk County have become a partner in Stoughton. I'm going to shut up very quickly in a minute, but we have a development team, their council, our assistant town manager and town engineer who knows these things better than me. But this is when the relationship of Norfolk County and one of the communities has been the greatest. This property has sat and has been a construction site for hundreds, I would say good 60 years. Now we're on the cusp right now of the biggest land deal in the town of Stoughton in over 50 years. The taxable income for this project as it stands now is between $2.3 to $2.7 million directly into the town budget. It doesn't tax the schools. The 80s, early 90s, when the last buildings went in, and this one here takes the place. But on behalf of my colleagues and the people of Stoughton, I want to thank you very much for your continued support and hope that you will support our request for the discontinuance. Thank you very much.
next, sure. Just your name. We know you're from the town.
Mark Tisdale, Assistant Town Manager, Stoughton. Thank you very much for welcoming us here today. As always, I hope we have a warm welcome. We've seen it a few times in the last year or so. One of them being a discontinuance of another road. So we're here again for a discontinuance of a road that really is required as part of our new project. This area is an old area. There's a lot of roads that intersect the new road that's going to service a large project for town. So by having the discontinuance of this road in place, it really improves the traffic flow in that area. And that's the main reason why we're here. It's not gonna really be needed anymore. We're gonna have a better access to all the properties in that area. I wanna thank Patrick. You have such a detail-oriented person. It really doubles and triple checks everything. I'm by nature, a civil engineer, I'm a registered professional engineer, and I can respect what this man goes through every day and why he has to do what he does. And I feel like whenever he works on something, if it gets put in front of you, there's nothing from a technical standpoint you need to worry about because he's so thorough with everything he does. So thank you very much for all your help. Thank you, Mr. Cronin, for all your help. He's been very involved in everything we do. So that's why we're here in a nutshell. Joe surrounded it with all the other stuff. I won't re-mention it, but it's really to improve the traffic flow in that area. It's really required to improve the traffic flow in that area.
Now, this is it. There's no more discontinuances, right? We did the old one, this is the other side. Joe, you're not gonna bring it over,
There's
are
always
you?
another
Okay,
one.
we have
If
north
we
and
find
south,
some-
or,
Commissioner,
I
if we
mean,
find some more land,
I mean,
let me know.
a lot
It's
of-
all about bringing in the revenue,
all right,
right?
well, all right, we'll help you there.
Can't guarantee it, but
All right,
in 13 years, I've had 2 discontinuances in a matter of a year.
yeah,
So,
funny.
never again. So
There you go.
thank you.
Well, that's all right. Glad to help you.
Anyone else?
Just to introduce ourselves, I suppose.
Sure, for the record.
I'm RJ Lyman, a lawyer in Boston. I represent Brookfield Properties, which is the parent of the would-be developer that's with me is Luke Giacomo from Brookfield. I know I'm in front of you, the commissioners, and I haven't been in front of you before, but Patrick, I would echo what Mark has to say. I'm a lawyer. We're not as detail-oriented or detail-oriented about other stuff than engineers are, but all of us were very impressed, not just with the attention to detail, but also the focused on what mattered to move the process forward. It is a thing. I've practiced law for 30 years, and I've done lots of interesting, never discontinued a county way before.
Hey, always the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I can't sit without having you know that in one of your 80 communities, I think you should expand your jurisdiction. I mean, Suffolk County, grab Boston.
I'm all for it. Let's
You
do
know,
it.
but in one of your,
That's what I'm leading up to.
one of your 28 communities, Stoughton, you and the people of Stoughton are very lucky in a lot of ways. But not least is the leadership of a man who's become my friend through this process, Joe McCrisky. It's hard to do development projects where everyone can win. Landowner, he got a big check. He's a happy boy. Our client is building something that will be, they do first class stuff. They own their assets for the long haul. This is not a build it and run away kind of company. And for the town. And there were a lot of things that Joe was, how should we say, clear and candid about up front. And one of them was that we needed to make the roadway system over near Page Street, really where the traffic from this would go, so it wouldn't disturb residential parts of the town, north and south on Turnpike, but then also B, that we need to clean up the legacy here, which really is kind of a bit of an operating mess, even without our trucks. So we're grateful to everybody for the help and support we've received, and we're obviously here for 30 questions, which we hope there will not be. Thanks so much.
Okay, speaking of attorneys, we have our attorney with us today, not necessarily for this, but he's eminently knowledgeable about this case. I just want to introduce Attorney Lopez, who is counsel, and he has been for a long time to the county. I don't know how many years, 25, Pete? Were you here when, or
Before me.
before you? Well, that's a long
33.
time. How many years?
91.
91,
91.
okay.
Yeah, 33.
So,
This is
for
not
the
first
record, we have our attorney here. Anyone else, before I ask Patrick for his imprimatur and comments? And then we'll open it up to anyone in the public on, maybe on the Zoom. Okay, Patrick, your
Sure.
comments.
Jim and Shay, would you want me to read in the discontinuance description?
Yes,
Okay,
If you want Mark to display anything, just tell me.
okay. So typically
go ahead.
we'll read in, okay. So the petition that we received from all the abutters in the immediate area and the future owner, to the Honorable County Commissioners of the County of Norfolk, respectfully represent your petitioners being the residents of the town of Stoughton and the town of Stoughton Select Board, that common convenience and necessity require that a portion of the Norfolk County layout of Page Street dated October 22nd, 1872, a public way laying in Stoughton, be altered for the purpose of discontinuing a portion of said layout in the area described as follows. The discontinuance area, the area being shown as a roadway area containing 33,642 square feet on a plan entitled Plan showing the discontinuance of a portion of the October 22nd, 1872 Norfolk County layout of Old Page Street in Stoughton, Mass. Scale 1 inch equals 60 feet, dated September 13th, 2023, prepared by Langen Engineering and Environmental Services, Inc., as more particularly described as follows, beginning at the most southerly point of the area herein described, said point being on the southerly sideline of the October 22nd, 1872 Norfolk County layout of Old Page Street, located in the town of Stoughton, thence north 50 degrees, 7 minutes, 32 seconds west, 23 feet to a point, thence turning and running north 42 degrees, 7 minutes, 32 seconds west, 89.66 feet to a point, thence turning and running north 33 degrees, 3 minutes, 35 seconds west, 566.80 feet to a point, thence turning and running north 55 degrees, 00 minutes, 23 seconds east, 50.03 feet to a point, thence turning and running south 33 degrees, 3 minutes, 35 seconds east, 564.53 feet to a point, thence turning and running south 42 degrees, 7 minutes, 32 seconds east, 82.20 feet to a point, thence turning and running south 50 degrees, 7 minutes, 32 seconds east, 19.50 feet to a point, thence turning and running south 39 degrees, 52 minutes, 28 seconds west, 50 feet to the point of beginning, with what your petitioners pray that said way be altered and discontinued within the limits as specified above. And we have multiple petitions that were signed by the town, all the abutters in the immediate area that were affected by the roadway changes and the access changes, all signed off. The town requested a certain portion, that's on on the second plan, be discontinued as a county way and thereafter be a town way, when it's discontinued, it abuts the 1956 town layout. So it's normal that it would become a town way as opposed to all the other parcels are going to revert to the abutters. All the abutters have agreed to reserve existing utility easements and access for maintenance and repair and service. And the developer is providing alternative means of access and egress for people that are on the dead end to go through the new private way that's been approved by the Stoughton Planning Board in the town. So I think everything's in order from that standpoint. And the town and the is going to be forwarding all the fully executed documents on their end for access and egress. That's it.
Good job.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, Chair, we've heard from interested parties. Objection.
Maybe on Zoom, ask if anyone has Zoom, Mr. Chairman.
I am going to ask on Zoom after we do anyone that's here. As you know, we are on remote, of course, so I want to shout out to anyone on the Zoom that is interested in testifying at this public hearing. Now is the time to do it. Again, anyone on the Zoom that's interested in this matter in the town of Stoughton, now is the time. I'd also like to ask everyone if they've had sufficient time to view the plans. I notice proper notice has been given in the, I call it the Brockton Enterprise, and the enterprise is distributed in the town of Stoughton and posted in 2 or more public places in the town, more than 15 days before today. That's been done. Patrick read the verbatim, the attached petition. Has everyone here had sufficient time to look at this plan and understand it? Okay. We have the name and address of everyone who spoke and their interest in this matter. Okay, last call. Has anyone, including the commissioners or any interested party, have any questions regarding this petition? Any question at all regarding this petition? Okay, last call for anyone that wants to be heard in this petition. Patrick, are you satisfied that?
Yes, Chairman Shea.
Oh, no, okay. Commissioners, do you have any comment on this petition before we adjudicate it?
I'll make a motion to take it under advisement.
Okay. We have a motion to take it under advisement.
Now, on some of the notes I read, it said if there is no objection, a motion to close the hearing would be in order. So right on it.
Okay.
So I don't know if we have to take it under advisement. I'm certain we appreciate we close the hearing, right?
Right.
Okay.
Quicker we close the hearing.
Right.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. No objections, right?
Yeah, you make the
None.
motion to close the hearing, then I'll make the motion to take it under advisement
Right,
after you close
right.
the hearing.
I'm not gonna vote it today, but close the hearing.
Chairman Shea, if I could just
Go ahead.
maybe ask if there's any objections? And if there aren't any, we could record that in the minutes.
Okay, is there anyone here who has any objections?
Wait, can we just do that? I'm confused.
I'm sorry.
Didn't you ask 3 times? Are there any objections?
No comment.
Oh, no comment. Okay, okay.
Right, that's all right, Patrick. You want it.
Okay.
That's why I'm reading this verbatim. We don't do many of these, but it's getting better, and that's good. We don't want to come back and do it over again. That's for sure.
I have no objection. I might have if you come back again. It'll take too long.
There's too many of them left.
Yeah, please.
If there are any objections to the petition review with deemed necessary, the commissioners cannot close the public hearing. Okay. No objections. Are there any objections? Okay, that's one of the.
Make a motion.
All right, I move that we close the public hearing on this matter.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
I make a motion, we take the matter under advisement.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to take the matter under advisement. A final decision should be rendered after the public hearing is closed and preferably after all the paperwork is ready and completed, including the final plan to be filed with the proposed order. County staff and county attorney will need time to put the paperwork in order. Last call on the matter of Page Street in Stoughton.
Do we vote that?
Yeah, we didn't vote it. No, so I made the.
No, we can't
motion-
vote
I
it.
made the motion to take it under
I'm
advisement.
sorry. Motion to take it under advisement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is
Okay.
unanimous.
Right.
This matter will be taken under advisement and we have our marching orders and we're gonna,
This public hearing is closed.
be straight.
Say what you want.
Thank you.
Very good.
This public
All right.
hearing is closed. I think we need a
Good job,
motion to close the public hearing. Richard.
Already did it.
We already did that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Joe. Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may I
Joe.
just one quick second? Thank you.
Sure.
Let me start by apologizing to Commissioner Collins. I have that brain now that's coming in bad. I know somebody for years and the name just doesn't come out. I apologize. It's something I deal with kind of early for this, but again, thank you, commissioners, for your support to the town of Stoughton. This is
Okay.
something
Patrick,
really monumental, and Patrick is, when I look at plans, I just see squiggly lines. I don't know what it is, so I go to the people that know it, and they can walk me through it. So thank you for everything you've done, and it will be a groundbreaking. There will be on a flip side, we will have our ribbon cutting of our new fire station,
Yeah.
September-ish. So you expect invitations to both of those. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You call coming in. Patrick, great job. Great job.
Okay, back to our regular meeting
Yeah, me too.
on Wednesday, June 12th. You'll have 1 minute recess before executive
Thank you
session.
so much. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you very much as always, Stan. Hey, Scott.
Patrick, if you don't mind.
We need to make it.
Record 12, 2024 commission meeting. I'll take a motion to go into executive session, please.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second. Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Commissioner Stady?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Collins? Commissioner Shea votes yes. We are going to go into executive session, and we will be returning to complete a regular scheduled June 12th meeting.
And the formal motion is to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, subsection
there
A,
you go.
Section 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the
Follow along.
bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Motion was made, seconded.
And now I'm going, thank you. We're back on the record in our regular meeting, June 12th, meeting of Norfolk County Commissioners. We're on regular agenda item number 6, please. Bid openings. We have a matter concerning the HVAC systems and control preventive maintenance at the Norfolk County Agri. Nancy, please.
This is a technical item.
Yeah.
Be very
Hi,
brief.
Nancy.
Good afternoon, Nancy. I apologize for being a little late.
Oh, that's okay, no worries.
Refresh our memory.
We had a bid open for the HVAC systems and controls preventative maintenance back on May 8th. We had received one bid, asking to reject that bid on technicality and rebid.
So what do we do now?
Vote to reject the bid received
I vote we reject the bid received and rebid.
and rebid the.
Okay.
The motion, that's my motion.
All right, do you need two motions or one motion?
One motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Motion is to reject the bids received and rebid.
Correct.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else today,
Will the
Nancy?
Aggie School be notified that you're doing that?
Yes,
Okay.
they already know, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, public comment. Each week we have public comment at our meetings or anyone who comes in to visit with us, as well as people that are out on remote, as I call Zoom land, remote. By any chance, public comment. John, have you?
No, sir.
No public comment. Last call for public comment. No public comment today. Number 8, old business. I have none. Number 9, personnel matters for consideration.
All right, Mr.
We
Chairman,
have several. Commissioner Stady.
President's Golf Course, I move the following: notice of resignation of Sarah Cole of Quincy, Mass. as pro shop at the rate stated effective 6/5/24. So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Next.
At President Golf Course, I made motion notice of rehire for Jacqueline O'Rourke of Quincy as seasonal golf course associate at the rate stated effective 6/13/24. So moved.
Motion made second. All in favor? Aye. It is a vote. Next.
At the Aggie School, lots of them. Notice of additional position of Elena Hobbs, West Bridgewater, student worker, camp person, the rate stated effective date 7/1/24. So moved.
Secondly. Motion made second. All in favor? Aye. Next.
I noticed an hourly increase with Julie Randall, who's going to Boston, student worker, and the rate is going to be $15.75. The rate stated there, so it's a million because it's correction. The effective date 7/1/24. So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. All in favor? Aye. It is a vote. Next.
Move approval of the hourly increase for the following 3 people: Elizabeth Wall of Marshfield, Sean Pugsley of Dorchester, Claire Amador of, Claire Amador, who said where? Was that them?
Yeah, there's no
There's no
location.
town.
Yep.
Okay, Claire Amador of Massachusetts, these are a student worker. The rate stated and the effective date on all 3 is 7/1/24. So moved.
Motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye. Let's see who's left here. Retirement. Notice retirement of Thomas Casado of Plimpton as an agricultural mechanic 4-person, and his date of retirement 7/2/24. So moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Wish him well. Column moves.
Right.
Move approval of the column move for the fiscal 24 budget for Tracy Ward of Milford, Mass. As administrative assistant to the principal and for the rate stated effective date 7/1/24. So moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Made a motion
Vote.
for
Thank
column
you.
move for Jessica Rice of Foxborough in the animal science 4-person equine coordinator at the rate stated and effective date 7/1/24. So moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
And lastly, notice of increase for the 25 budget for John Martin of Marion, Mass. As superintendent director. The rate stated at the date 7/1/24. So moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
That's all I had on my sheet.
That's all there is, I believe.
Okay.
John Martin,
John,
John Cronin, sorry.
John.
Chairman, through you, if I could ask for the commissioner's approval on a late student worker blue paper that came in. This particular item would permit this worker to come in as early as tomorrow when a project he was slated to begin working on is enabled. If you would be so kind, I'll make a motion for your consideration of this late ad if the commissioners are inclined.
Yes, please.
I don't believe there's any problem with it.
No, I think-
Okay, since they're gonna start
Joe, you
next
talked
week or
about
tomorrow.
before. Yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
Okay, why don't you give the commissioner to read the name and then,
It's the blue paper. You want me to read it? or-
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't care. We
go ahead,
can
Commissioner.
make a motion, right?
Yes, please.
Yes,
So we'll move approval of, what do you want to read it? It looks like Toby Tough
Here,
Pearman. I got that right.
West.
Okay, what? And that's a student worker?
yes, sir.
And the effective date is going to be tomorrow,
Yes.
which would be 6/13/24
Yes, sir.
at the rate statement. So moved.
motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank
I
you.
just trying to print.
19, payroll and expense warrants for approval, including opera.
And we go, Mr. Chairman, we have a long list, which is good news, lots of opera. Let's go. First, I move approval of 24-49 payroll to county, the sum of $150,723.16. So moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote.
Next, payroll to school, 24-49, 25 parentheses. I'll move the sum of $383,603.76. So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Next,
Third, I move approval for the expense of the county of 06-02-24. The sum of $176,284.99. So moved.
motion made, seconded, all in favor? Aye, it is a vote.
The next four, Mr. Chairman, are all warrant list 2450. They're all opera. I'll just read the names of the towns, but they're all going to be the same. Move approval for the opera for Weymouth, $893,961.62. So moved.
Motion made and seconded on the town of Weymouth, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
Next one, opera for Brookline. I'll move the sum $229,800. So moved.
Motion made and seconded on the town of Brookline, all in favor?
Aye.
Opera, next.
I move approval for the opera for Canton. The sum $204,000.
On the town of Canton opera money, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
I thought Charlie Judy was doing
It
it.
is a vote.
And here's a big one. We'll move approval for opera for Quincy. The sum of $1,700,000, Mr. Chairman.
On the town of Quincy opera, $1,700,000, motion made and seconded, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye. It
That
is a vote.
concludes the list.
That concludes the opera awards for approval.
There you
Excellent.
go.
Contracts today for awarding, we have none. Report of the county director. I'm sorry, report on American Rescue Plan Act.
Right.
Put that into your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Commissioner Stady just read, the four ARPA awards are the latest. And if I could just briefly describe the purpose behind each is starting with the 1.7 million awarded to the city of Quincy. This concludes Quincy's share of our allotment assigned to them. This is a reimbursement associated with a water main improvement project for the city of Quincy. The next item was also a revenue replacement item for the town of Canton, $204,000. This will fund a granular activated carbon filter replacement program. These filters are current ones are reaching end of life. They're a component of the water treatment process used for the removal of many natural man-made compounds present in water supplies, and in the course of its use loses effectiveness over time, so we're replacing those if we can. The next one is for the town of Weymouth, as Commissioner stated, read $893,961. This is a hybrid advance reimbursement for excavation and replacement of a forced water main, slip lining, and installation of precast manhole and other related tasks at the Wharf Street Pump Station. Again, that's the town of Weymouth. And the fourth one was the town of Brookline, which is also their second award. We're seeing some progress. With them, this is a reimbursement to the town against the public health category to refund the town the cost of providing COVID-19 testing for public and town employees. So with those four particular grants, I'm pleased to inform the commissioners that you now have awarded 193 awards totaling $118.5 million. We'll probably have some more next week. There are a couple of moving quickly towards level 3 for review. Actually, as I stand corrected, next week you're having a very brief virtual meeting, so this will be in 2 weeks. Beg your pardon. So briefly, the ARPA program, as I said, is steaming right along. I've had 2 additional closeout reviews. I expect to give Franklin and Bellingham their answers today. That'll bring us up to, I think, 8 or 9 closeout plans as we progress. We're getting our way, hopefully, to get them all done before the end of the month. So that is all I have on the ARPA piece. I can go right into the report if you'd like.
A quick question on that.
Yes, sure.
If I could, please, real quick.
Mhm.
What's important? So ARPA, we had a deadline of June 30, right? The application had to be in by the towns.
Yes,
Right, more or less.
closeout plan, yeah.
Closeout plan, okay. So at the end of June, towns have not submitted that. That's it. They can't be putting in for any more ARPA. Is that correct? More or less?
More or less, but proceed. I think I
where
know
we're
where you're
going.
going.
So the presentation we had today for United Way and for others that might come out, we should wait until the June 30 deadline,
Yes,
see where we are, and then
That's
we can
correct.
make a better determination.
that's correct. In all,
Right. And we don't have to determine that before June 30.
no,
Okay.
but in all clarity, the reality is no community is getting back to me at this point. We don't see anyone coming forward saying we cannot meet our spending or allotment goals. So
Really?
we do not see currently any surplus surfacing for reuse.
Even someone that just put like their second or third grant, they still, that's a huge amount of money to cover too.
So what we've asked communities to provide us, and all but 3 have done so, is to give us a closeout plan of how they intend to spend it. As long as they have a bona fide program that takes them to obligating those funds before the end of the calendar year,
Mhm.
then they're still in the program. Several of them, in fact, will not have had their obligation intact until later in the calendar year, and that's okay. That obligation is met before December 31st, 2024.
Okay.
So, with the case of Brookline, Commissioner, we've all been watching their pace. They are active in the portal. We have quite a few applications in there for them. And we're working very diligently with their town to help them expedite their grants. Their closeout plan currently shows not only that they will close out those grants and seek to get them awarded through this body, but also ask for additional money. So Brookline is feeling aggressive. They believe they have the resources to achieve their goal of spending their allotment. It's just they're at the tail end of the process versus many of the other communities, which I mentioned have already closed up in a lot.
Thank you.
Report of the county directors next.
Yeah, just a couple of items. Let's see. We're looking into the month of July, as I just mentioned. Next week, the commissioners are meeting off schedule, a brief hybrid meeting, well, virtual entirely, for you folks to address some items on June 20th. Excuse me. The following month, there is a collision on July 17th, which is a Wednesday, with a county managers meeting that Norfolk County is hosting. So we respectfully, through the chair, asked if we could move your meeting to Thursday, July 18th at the same time. And if the commissioners can get back to me on any thoughts on that, we'll make that change in the upcoming schedule. I just want to make a couple of announcements relative to the financial close for FY28. Several things are going on at once. Folks should have already received direction from Phil and Tosca regarding transfers, which are due close of business today. Furthermore, regarding encumbrances, Nancy Rockwell sent out a notice on June 6th that all bid items will, purchase orders on all bid items will not be accepted after June 14th. Emergency non-bid purchase orders will be accepted until June 28th. As I mentioned, transfers are closing this week, and vendors with outstanding balances should be notified to submit their bills for payment before June 20th. Our fiscal team will be meeting on June 28th for a couple of reasons. First, as the commissioners may know, our long-term Chief Procurement Officer, Nancy Rockwell, has announced her intentions to retire at the end of July. Over the next several weeks, our team will be meeting with Nancy to transition her duties to ensure that we have things covered or understood. As we proceed with posting and hopefully hiring her replacement. During this time period, especially on June 28th, we're going to assess the county's position. What I can tell you right now is that through some analysis that Mr. Iantosk has done, the county presents a $1.1 million surplus at the end of the fiscal year. That can shift and change depending upon collections, but that's a favorable number. Most of that money is the surplus that you set aside back in December to address our shortfall. So your plan worked. The spending freeze and hiring freeze effectively allowed us to keep in line our resources for FY24 to make them available for FY25. This reported $1.1 million surplus will be used mostly to cover our obligations to begin FY25. Remember, we have to set aside a certain amount, a certain percentage of funds to meet general law needs, which is about $770,000. So if you take that apart from the 1.1, it's not a very big surplus, but it is a surplus.
Right.
We'll assess what that number is somewhere in the second week of July, after July 10th when we close. But I can say today it appears as though we will not need an advisory board in early July, as we thought. Some of this can change, and I'll keep you all informed. But on June 28th, we'll have a final review of our spending, our revenue, and then also a discussion about reserves that will be carried forward from FY24 into FY25.
So by surplus, you mean, you mean, at the end of the year, closing the books, we've got $1 million left over. That's not gonna cover, will that cover the increases for next year for our budget? Our budget level funded, right?
Our budget's all set.
Okay, so we have a surplus.
Yes, but the surplus, part of our budget blend, if you may recall, Commissioner, the revenue includes taking 10% of the county assessment,
Right.
Which is about $7 million. And that 10% pursuant to law has to be made available the following year. So effectively, you're taking a surplus every year and moving it into the following year. It's a nuance of county government I've not seen before. Because of that, $1.1 million, almost 800,000 is needed for the revenue right out of the gate to pay for next year's bills, which leaves a small gap, and that gap will move depending upon what, for example, deeds excise collections look like between now and the end of June.
Yep, that,
That's all I have.
Okay, any matters for John? Anything else for the county director? Commissioner?
next week we'll meet in virtual. Right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, a very brief agenda. I don't expect any.
Juneteenth is next Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
Holiday.
Right.
Okay, just a reminder that we're gonna meet next Thursday. Next Thursday,
June 20th.
June 20th, remotely to finish up any matters.
What time is that?
We have another meeting after
I believe it's
that.
1 o'clock.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna meet at 1 o'clock remotely because the Wednesday is a holiday.
Right.
Number 19. Any other items that we didn't anticipate? I have none, commissioners. Okay, so the productive meeting will have a motion to adjourn.
We'll be adjourned at 2:35.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
You could match on this break.